Hello, magical people. My name is Lou, and I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing a reading that is a pick a card energy check-in reading. There will be 4 readings available, and they will be titled by the element, so earth, air, water, and fire. You can pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It's entirely up to you, and you can use whatever metric you'd like to make your selection. Some people might like to pick based on an element that's predominant in their astrological chart, or maybe an element just because you like the sound of it or you like the way the alchemical symbol looks. Really, it can be anything that you'd like. As always, please take what resonates and leave the rest. And always be sure to follow your own guidance and make your own choices at the end of the day. Let's see. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really is super important. I think I'm up to around 160 subscribers so far. So thank you all so much. This has been such an interesting journey so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm enjoying the fact that knowing some of you are liking my videos. So please, if you do like them, please do thumbs up them. It really does. It gives me the message that you are enjoying this or getting something from it or seeing that you're being seen and validated in some way. So if it's something you value, I'd really love to know about it. Let's see what else. There is going to be a channel update video coming out probably after this one or maybe before this one. It's just going to be a little brief one giving the details about the private readings, which are now available. And that information will also be in the description box below. And okay, so back to today's reading. So like I said, it's going to be one of 4. You can pick, by each of the elements. But then also within each of those 4 readings, we're going to be looking at the elements. So we're going to be looking at air. What are you thinking? Water. What are you feeling? Fire. What's inspiring and motivating you? And earth. What are you doing about all of that? So again, take 1, 2, 3, or 4, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive into reading 1. So reading 1, if you selected the element of earth, which looks like this, where to stick it? There will be a picture inserted as well. Then this, in fact, is your reading. So we are going to just go ahead and jump right in. And what we're going to be doing today is within the element of air, again, what you're thinking about, we're going to pull 1 card for past, 1 card for present, 1 card for future. If there's one that doesn't seem to seems like it needs a little bit more clarifying, then we'll pull a card from another deck for a clarifier. But if that doesn't seem necessary, then we'll just leave the messages where they are. And then we will also be pulling some oracle cards and another tarot card for advice from your guides. So in the element of air, we have past showing up in the past position. We have the Ace of Visions. In the present position, we have the 6 of Spells. And in the future position, we have the Child of Challenges. So we have in the past position, first of all, this new opportunity for emotional fulfillment or emotional intimacy. This is the, a gift of a cup from the universe, so to speak. So it's something new or a new iteration of something existing. And I see that from that recent past into the current, you've moved into the space of the 6 of Spells. So it seems as though you're kind of in a place where you've been putting in some hard work. And this is, again, all with regards to thinking. So this is the element of air. So you've been thinking about something that has brought this new feeling of emotion to you, or this new feeling of emotional satisfaction. And now your thinking is kind of moved to a place where it's almost like you were working something out for a little while, and now you've kind of gotten to a place where something has clicked and something has started to make sense to you. And then coming forward, we have the Child of Challenges, which is otherwise known as the Page of Swords. So what's interesting is I see that whatever it is that you're thinking about that is bringing this sense of an emotional truth or emotional reality. Oh, there's a bug flying around in here. Oh, that's going to be annoying. But anyways, whatever is you know, has been inspiring these thoughts and like this new way of thinking about something, and then this feeling of like something having clicked into place a little bit and offering a sense of like satisfaction and success. You're going to be moving from that into this child of challenges. So what's interesting is you're moving from the numbered cards into the court cards. So there is an absolute progression, and it is something that's like it's like, so the ace is the first of the numbered cards, and then the pages is the first of the court cards. So it's like it's going to continue to move forward into like leveling up into this spirit of mastery and really gaining mastery of it. But showing up as the pages, it's kind of new. So it's kind of interesting. It seems like there's really a lot of forward motion happening in what you're thinking about. So wondering if this is coming up to something that you're planning, you know, something that you haven't, we'll see what comes out in the other elements, but something that you haven't really taken a whole lot of action on yet. But it looks like with moving into the court cards, you are getting near that place. So actually, I'm going to pull from a different deck. So this next tarot card is going to be advice from your guides with regards to this realm. And we have here the Five of Feathers. Interesting, which is that like Five of Wands energy. So that's kind of like, I mean, it usually is indicative of there being another person in the mix, and maybe like, I mean, what's written on this card is rivalry. It sometimes can come up as also like conflict. So I wonder if your guides are saying it's time to bring this idea out into the world so that it can be tested, before you start to take action on it. For oracle cards, we have the koi fish spirit. There is always enough, which is interesting because I wonder, I just had this really specific image in my mind, and this won't resonate for everybody, but if this is you, I think your energy just reached out and was like, no, because when I was saying about like opening your mind to the idea of expressing these thoughts to another person for the purpose of being like, like tested a little bit, kind of this image in my mind was of somebody going, no, it's mine. And what's kind of funny is that this is the first oracle card that came out, because it is, I mean, that could just be like a defense mechanism, like especially if it's something that's new that we've been kind of like working through on our own. It can feel very vulnerable to put that out in the world. It can also you know, bring up some feelings. And so with this is always enough card showing up, I'm wondering if maybe that's a dynamic that you've noticed in yourself, that you've held off from talking to somebody about this because either feelings of vulnerability or defensiveness, or feeling like you just didn't want to share it. It was still too precious to you in some way. We also have maintaining your childlike spirit, which I think is great that that's coming up with this page card, because that's the thing, is that yes, you're moving into mastery, but also you're maintaining the air of like childish exuberance and curiosity and desire to learn, and allowing yourself to be in that position of being the student, being the child, and that the level of observation and excitement and curiosity and willingness and to learn, and like a knowing that you don't have all of the knowing. And then we also have feline. And you know, it's so funny, whenever this card comes up, I'm always like, okay, feline. I'm not really entirely sure what to do with that. But interestingly, today, I am getting a specific message of it, and it's coming back to this, there is always enough. So I feel like, you know, with both the koi fish and with the feline showing up here, that there is this air of like, kind of like the feline, you are taking stock of your environment, and you are choosing. Your guides are inviting you to be a cat and to have a heightened awareness of the environment for the purpose of being very mindful in the actions you take. That's how that's how cats are such successful predators, is they really pay attention to the moment, and then they pounce when the moment is right. So your guides are letting you know that you're on the right track. It is time to maybe move this idea out into the world a little bit, for the purpose of And when I say testing it, I guess for some reason I can't think of the exact right word that I want to use, but it's more like taking it out into the field and running it through its paces, and that will give you a better idea of if there are other things that you need to consider. So it's kind of like opening your thoughts to other people's perspectives, so that so that you can give up any agency and autonomy over them, but more so you have different things reflected back at you, which then allows you to move your thinking forward even more. So it's like a very inner and outer, moving inward, moving outward, nurturing things within yourself, but then allowing them to move out in the world. So next, we are going to take a look at the realm of water, this is all about our feelings and our emotions. So again, we're going to do one for the past, present, and future. Recent past, we have the Council of Animals, which is known as the Judgment card. And current, we have the Weaver of Visions, which is the Weaver. Oh my gosh, I'm totally spacing it with this deck all of a sudden. That is the Queen of Cups. And then we have the Three of Visions. So coming out of this space of judgment, I wonder if this could be showing up in a couple of different ways, either where you're doing a lot of checking things with other people, or it could be running through the various perspectives in your mind. So if this is about checking things with other people, since this is the emotional realm, maybe this has kind of been a situation where something has been bringing up feelings for you, and either you're having a lot of internal judgment, about it yourself, that maybe not even entirely conscious. And so what that ends up kind of fostering is an environment of wanting to check things with people. Almost as if you weren't really giving yourself permission to have your emotions, and you wanted to hear somebody say, like, yeah, it's okay that you're feeling that way. So this is kind of the recent past energy. And then for the current energy, we have the Seeker of Visions, which, like I said, this is the Queen of Cups. So this is very much about having moved out of that space of just really questioning your own emotions, and into that space of kind of trying to understand your emotions and how that impacts what you do and what you think and how you feel about other things. What's pretty stinking awesome here is we have in the future, we have the Three of Cups, which it is especially harmonious when cups shows up within the when we're looking at water, because it's, they're the same. So not only is this feeling like you've got some full cups, but also bringing other people, like being in a place of joyful celebration, maybe going out with your friends, or spending time with your family or loved ones or valued members of your community in some way, and having it be a positive experience where everybody is giving and everybody is receiving. It's not so much like one person showing up and holding up for others or providing help. Like, this is really just people coming together and feeling good about it and enjoying one another's company, and kind of in that way that the sum is greater than the parts. It's like, when we come to, like, if I'm in a pretty good mood already one day, and then I go and I hang out with a friend, and that friend also is in a pretty good mood, then somehow our full cups become more than overflowing. It's, it's kind of the energy of what I'm thinking of. So next, let's see if what your guides would like to chime in about the emotional space. Seems as though it's a place of relative calm. I feel like maybe with that Judgment card showing up in the recent past, maybe you're just coming out of something that was difficult, that was heavy, and again, with it being major arcana, something that was very big. So it feels like you're moving out of a space that maybe brought up some stuff or poked some stuff into a place of things being a little bit better, things being a little bit easier, being able to connect with other people in a way that feels good. Now your guides are advising to lean into the wisdom that is offered by the way that we commune with our friends and our family members. And, the Hierophant is all about ancient wisdom, whether that comes to us through an institution or a person, or meditation through ourselves. It is the energy of being in receipt of information, downloads, such as they sometimes say, from a higher realm. So this can be teachings, it can be talking to an elder, or you know, a grandparent, and just, or anybody that's older, although I guess I don't really even have to be older, just anybody that's wise. It's like reaching out to the people that are our mentors, or reaching out to the things that we mentor from. So this could also be leaning in to your spiritual practices. And then what's interesting is without even really being conscious of why, or that I was even doing it, I picked up this third tarot deck that I hadn't even used yet and hadn't really intended to use, but I picked it up and a card came out. So it is the Father of Wands. So we're going to just consider this a secondary message from your guides. So Father of Wands, that is, you know, that is that space of, oh, okay, I get it. These two go together. Using that wisdom, however you glean the wisdom that comes to you, whether it's through a person or a practice or a book, but it's like using that wisdom to foster your inspiration. It's like the greater message is that as you're coming out of this time where things were a bit chaotic and a bit more difficult, and you're moving into this space of being more understanding and more aware and of your own emotional state and how that works and how that's allowing you to then have more emotional fulfillment, your guides are saying use this as an opportunity to collect wisdom and let that wisdom inspire you in with regards to your heart, like keeping your heart space open. And that doesn't mean like open to, like keeping your heart space open does not equal keeping your heart space unprotected. So I kind of feel like maybe with this heavier energy, there is a little bit of fear maybe that might be coming up around letting yourself be vulnerable. And your guides, especially with this king coming in, you know, they're like, yeah, no, you've got this. This is something that, you know, you do have the skills, and even though being vulnerable can feel scary, it can feel scary to connect with people. Even when it's joyful, sometimes it's like, oh, really, is this about to be where I'm going to go? Then, you know, like your guides are like, no, you know, trust yourself. They're inviting you to trust yourself and trust your own wisdom as well. So let's pull a few oracle cards. Rabbit Spirit, now is a lucky time. So I think that is... Oh, and you're also being invited to be in service. So I wonder too if maybe as you reconnect with the community, and now that you are in this place where you are more stable and your cups are more full, you might notice maybe somebody in your community who could use a hand, or maybe need someone to just hang out with them for an hour and just, you know, have a conversation and like be a place where we can hear one another. Like being of service, being of service can show up obviously in a multitude of ways, but it does feel like maybe there's some wisdom from your recent experience that you've gleaned that somebody else could use. And so it's that, you know, it doesn't have to be a direct one-on-one. It could even be like in the way that it is my intention to be of service to you all, and to let messages come through me, and, you know, sometimes be colored or tinted by my own personal experiences. It can also show up in that way, you know, a little bit more abstract. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to help somebody move, for example. And then we also have recognition, and I think this is a really great one, and I'm glad it's coming up, because your guides really do want you to recognize the space that you've just moved through and the space that you're in, and just have a moment where you acknowledge the work that you've put in, and you have recognition and gratitude for yourself, and for showing up for yourself and for your life and for your own experiences in the way that you have, and how you've allowed those maybe more difficult things to help you get to a place of wisdom, of having learned lessons. So we're going to leave that one there. And now we are going to take a look at fire. So we're going to take a look at what's inspiring you and what's bringing you inspiration. First, I'm going to have a sip of water, though. All right, fire. We have here in the recent past, we have the White Heart. That's pretty awesome. So this is the Fool energy. So recently, you've been taking a little bit of leap of faith. Maybe there was previous to that, there was something that inspired you and you decided to try and lean into that inspiration. Right now, we have the Seeker of Visions, which this is the Knight of Cups. So you're in this place where you are trying to understand more about it. You're trying to get more clarity on it, and you've moved from that page energy to that knight energy. So it's like you've leveled up a little bit with your understanding of this inspiration. Let's see here for your future card. We've got the Child of Spells. So this is pretty cool. So moving from that place of feeling good about it and having like seeking the emotional truths of this inspiration, this new leap of faith, and instead moving into inspiration, moving into that fire, moving into trying new things and testing out your wand, so to speak. So going from a place of like being in that place, like this guy creating music, right? Creating music is certainly a creation of a certain thing. And I don't think anybody could deny that even though it would be difficult to measure using instruments of some sort, it is very obvious that music has a subtle impact on the way we experience things. Listening to a sad song can make you sad. Listening to a happy song can make you feel happy or excited or invigorated in some way. And the wands is really all like look at this guy. This kid. He's playing with the wand and he's about to cast a spell. So he's having more direct impact on his environment than the visions is. So that's pretty cool. It seems like this leap of faith is really moving through a variety of stages. Let's see what your guides have to say about it and what they want to advise at this time. Whoa. All right. And we have here the there's a whole pile that came out. We have the Three of Pentacles. Oof. Interesting. So we have the Three of Pentacles, the Nine of Arrows, the Ten of Arrows, and the Five of Arrows, which these three are some pretty tough energy, not gonna lie. So I kind of feel like this inspiration is gonna, whatever it is that's inspiring you, whatever it is that's motivating you in this current space, I feel like it's probably gonna bring up some stuff and but you're still being invited to put in the work. You're still being invited to put it out into the world. That Three of Pentacles energy, again, the threes are where other people are invited into the picture. So it's not just about continuing to do the work. It's also about letting others know that you're doing the work. So, all right, so story time. I feel like the first thing that's coming up that might be a very good example of how this energy and what your guides are advising could be my experience with this tarot channel. So first, I started from this place of knowing where it was time to do it, or it was something that I was going to do. But first, I had to work through a lot of feelings about it, and I had to come to a better understanding of what my truth was with regards to that, and the role that I was going to play, and the type of music that I was going to create. And then I moved into this space of really not only having set my intentions, but putting my intentions into action. And what happened is that it was scary as shit. It is I'm a pretty introverted person in my day-to-day life, and the idea of intentionally putting myself in a space and asking people to look at me was terrifying, and it brought up a lot of stuff for me. It brought up a lot of unresolved trauma from my past. It brought up a lot of understanding of more shadow aspects of myself or aspects of my personality that I've disowned or have been in judgment of in some way. And yet I had to keep showing up and doing it because, my guides just wouldn't shut up about it. This was a fairly long arc with me. It took several years. But, that's just a good example of how this energy is showing up, and what your guides are inviting you to do is to, you know, it was a leap of faith. It was a leap into the unknown. It was a brand new adventure with all of the possibility of great success, but none of the guarantee. Like, this is just the beginning. It's all potential. It's all potential. And so your guides are inviting you to stay on that path for whatever this is that is inspiring you, that is making you feel so motivated, even though it feels hard, even though it may be touching on stuff that feels scary or vulnerable for you, or is bringing up some really hard energy for you internally. Your guides are saying that that inspiration was put in front of you for a reason, and that the work around it is not yet done. So let's pull a few oracle cards on that. Ooh, Elephant Spirit. Our guides are also asking us to learn from the past. So, you know, I wonder if maybe for you, similar to the way it was for me, there is something about there having been some, you know, this is poking on stuff from the past that may be unhealed. You're also being asked to just pause and observe. And especially if those more difficult things come up, especially if it's self-judgment. That's been a big one for me, and one that I often find myself inhabiting the space of self-judgment. It's almost like it happens so fast, I can't see it coming. Suddenly I'm just in it. And so it's been a lot of work to try and have those moments where I can be in mindful pausing, and so in order to enable being in that witness space, being able to witness ourselves in a way rather than just being in whatever we're in, especially if it's something that is a situation or a thought pattern that is inflamed in some way. And then as a last oracle card, we have love. And I love that this is coming up, because it is true. Like, this is, your guides are inviting you to meet this situation, meet this difficulty, meet yourself, to really meet yourself with love. And how can that ever be bad? How can that ever be bad? Okay, next and finally, we are going to look at the realm of Earth, which this is what we're doing. So let's see what you've been doing lately, what you're doing now, and what your guides are saying might be coming forward for you. So for the recent past, we have the Ace of Spells. Ooh, damn, Earth people. I'm just going to say, in the recent past, you've gotten the Fool, 2 aces, and a major arcana. So I feel like you're coming out of just a really big shift. Like, there was some seismic stuff going on. Holy smoke. So yeah, Ace of Spells, moving on, like getting that gift of that spark of the lightning rod sort of being stricken. We also have your current energy as the Black Shuck, which in this deck is the Death card, which I can't imagine how you wouldn't have a period of deep transition with all of the, or transformation with that major, with the Judgment card and the 2 aces and the Fool. Just, that's unbelievable. And then we have the 3 of Boons, which is the 3 of Pentacles, which is funny because that also is the card that just showed up as advice from our guides in the realm of fire. So it seems as though you really like all of like what you're actually doing, with what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's inspiring you. Now we're in the Earth realm. So what you're actually doing is transforming this information, all of these things that you've been experiencing. You're transforming them for the purpose of, again, putting it out into the world, putting yourself out into the world, in a way, you know, or whether it's your ideas or just the way you show up in the world and engage with the people in your space. You know, it is this very much of stepping out. There's big stepping out energy coming. Okay, so let's see what your guides have to say about that. So last round, guides for our Earth friends in their earthy realm of doingness. Earthy realm of doingness. I like that. And we have the 8 of feathers, which is otherwise known as the 8 of wands. That Yeah, so it feels as though like there's a, like things are moving, like things are moving now, and especially going from this ace through the death, through the to the place of doing and putting out in the world and making your soup, so to speak, making your soup and bringing it to the table. There is this feeling of like your guides are inviting you to go with it, to almost like be in, what's the word I'm looking for? Resistance, releasing resistance to the flow of things, which sometimes can be very challenging. Well, not for everybody. For some types, my type included, sometimes releasing resistance to just the flow of what is happening around us can be really, really difficult. We have koala spirit, remembering that spirit has a plan. And I feel like, yeah, okay, let's see what else is coming up here. We have, oh my goodness, okay. We have leap of faith. So I love that we are both starting and ending with a card that represents that energy of the Fool and that taking a leap of faith. And then we also have manifest. I love it. So your guides are inviting you to do it, to just do it, to whatever all of this has brought to you, however that's showing up in the world. Your guides are saying, like, now is kind of the time. It's been hard, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been pushed on and brought up, but this has changed you. This has put you in a place where you now have more clarity and more understanding. And like the universe does have a plan, spirit has a plan. And again, you're being invited to remain in that full energy of taking that leap of faith and releasing resistance to the flow, even when the flow sometimes feels like it's moving, like the river's moving a little too fast. You're still being invited to jump on your floaty and just go with it. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found it inspirational in some way. And if you'd like to share your story or have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave a message below. And as always, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself. Hello, air folk. If you selected reading 2, the element of air, as your element, why can't I ever figure this out, as your element for today's reading, then this, in fact, is the reading for you, and welcome. And so what we are going to do here is we're going to look at recent, past, present, and future energies of your air, earth, water, and fire. So air, what you are thinking about; water, what you're feeling; fire, what's inspiring and motivating you; and earth, what you are doing. And then we'll also, for each of those elements, get some cards from our guides. And with those will be a mixture of tarot and oracle. So again, starting with the element of air, let's take a look for past, present, and future energies of what you've been thinking. First card is the Nine of Boons. Ooh, seems like in the recent past you've been in this place of self-sufficiency, taking care of yourself, doing it yourself, and your current energy is the Forest Lord. Ooh, doing some boundaries work maybe, and doing it in a way where you are, yeah, claiming your boundaries around yourself and providing some structure in your life, and like, and then Ace of Spells. Oh, I love this. I stinking love this. So, air friends, this is like, with regards to the realm of what you're thinking about, it's like being in this place of recognizing your own worth and knowing that you can rely on yourself and that you're your own best advocate, and that you're always available to listen to your own thoughts and like have your own back, has moved you into this place of mastery over knowing, having more discernment over what is you versus what is not you. And I wonder if that's also been like picking apart some old programming with regards to some thought patterns. And what that yields is the Ace of Spells. What that yields is new inspiration in the way that we think about things. And that I mean, like, honestly, like, what a beautiful, beautiful progression. So next we're going to see what your guides have to say about that. I really like, yeah. Oh, and also just like for what it's worth, I just looked down and was noticing in these pictures. So here she is holding that bird, and then here he is lighting that fire, and you kind of like look at the way those two pictures line up. And so like the way that you nurture allows you to create light in the world. And that is also some pretty beautiful stuff. I wonder if maybe you are a healer. And again, take what resonates, leave the rest. But if that resonates for you, then it seems as though you have done some real work in healing yourself, which is always the first place we have to start. Ooh, your advice from your guides is the Wheel of Fortune. So like taking a chance and knowing that they're like this cycle of how you've moved from this place of self-reliance through self-knowing and owning yourself and accepting yourself and having a bit more like mastery and understanding of your divine masculine, which is how we do. Yeah, that's moved into the space of like a new inspiration, like new ideas that feel sparkly somehow, that feel alive and full of potential. And your guides are like, yeah, it's time to take a chance. It's time to take a chance. And they're also saying that the miracles are endless. And like cow spirit, oh my God, how cute. Yeah, the miracles are endless. They're also saying hope and happiness. I wonder if yeah, I feel like there is a lot of healing energy in this, and I wonder if you in your own kind of like healing journey have been in a place of late of kind of like greater like there's been a big arc that's wrapping up lately, and that's also with the Wheel of Fortune. That's kind of, you know, that's the end of a cycle. That's the 10. So, yeah, like I wonder if maybe if there was a period of time where hope and happiness like was something that was kind of hard to remember or hard to believe in a way. And then we also have mediumship. Interesting. And again, this won't resonate with everybody, but if you are on a healing journey and part of that healing journey has recognized your own sensitivities to energies and the way they move in the world and having a better understanding or awareness of them, then that is information that your guides would like you to lean into. We all are channels in a way, and especially once we start to have a better idea of our boundaries, energetic, physical, emotional, all of it, then that really does kind of, once we flex in that way, it does make information come through a bit more clear. So, next, we're going to take a look at the water realm. We're going to take a look at the emotional realm and the past, present, future. For our air friends and past, we have the Keeper of Visions, which is, that's the King of Cups. Okay, King of Cups in Cups. And current energy is the Huntsman, which is the Judgment card, or Justice card. I'm sorry, Justice card. And then in the future, we have the Weaver of Boons. Ooh, which is, this is Queen of Pentacles energy. So moving out of this place of, like, the King of Cups, he knows that he has feelings, and he is in touch with his feelings. He's very poetic, and especially as the kings go, you know, the kings are also fire energy. So this is water and fire mixed together, and so it's a bit softer than all of the other kings. You know, he's definitely the more feminine of the masculine energy. I'd say there's a lot more balance between the masculine and the feminine than there is with the other kings. And yeah, and so it's like being in that place of like artful creativity, being in touch with our emotions, like poetry, and embracing that energy of being poetic in the way that we approach our emotions. And it's like being in touch with them, and what that's kind of yielded in present time is this place of justice. and this place of wanting to have integrity. And ooh, I need to take off my overshirt here. I am, wow, honestly, I'm having a hot flash. Happens when you're certain people at a certain age sometimes. Anyways, so moving from that place of having a little bit of emotional mastery has kind of allowed you to also move into this place of having greater integrity, you know, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because when we're not in touch with our emotions, we're more likely to act out, or more likely to project onto others the way that we really feel about parts of ourselves and things like that. And so when we're able to be in touch with our emotions, that really allows us to move into a place of greater integrity. And coming towards you energy-wise, we have the Weaver of Boons, which is the Queen of Pentacles. And she is a, you know, she is a healer. She really is. Like, she is very, very good at nurturing those that are close to her, of just like abundance kind of springing up all around her. So I really feel like, especially since this is showing up in the water realm, in the emotions realm, I feel like moving from that place of being in touch with how you feel about things, allowing yourself to come to some inner agreement, inner integrity, inner understanding, inner awareness of yourself has really allowed you to, allowed your heart space to really open, and allowed yourself to be in that place of abundance, and like having so much nurturing and so much love energy available that it just kind of like seeps out into the world around you. And I have to apologize, there's totally a fly buzzing around, and it just is what it is, but it is also annoying, and my apologies if you've been catching that on the screen and it's been driving you bananas. Next, we are going to pull some cards from your guides. So first we're going to pull a tarot card, just messages directly from your guides with regards to the specific energy that we've been talking about in your emotional realm. And it is the Hierophant. Oh, that's so interesting. That came up in the first reading as well. So, you know, your guides are like, yeah, this has brought you some wisdom. And this wisdom has brought you closer to divinity in a way, closer to yourself, closer to your core self, that part of ourself that is untouched by negative experience, like the spirit of us. And so you're just being, I guess, validated, really, mostly. Your guys are wanting to validate that, and also encourage you to consciously be aware of the healing arc that you've been on, and how much work you've been able to do, and give yourself a little bit of props for that. So for oracle cards, we also have assurance. Isn't that funny? Yes, your guides are wanting you to rest assured that this experience has been for you. These lessons have been to bring you closer to yourself in a way, and give yourself more clarity about the world and your experience and yourself. We also have change of mind. So I feel like maybe this, maybe this is something new. Maybe this is not, maybe you weren't always in touch with your emotions. Maybe you used to be more likely to compartmentalize your emotions. And so being in this place where you're letting yourself having your feelings, and really like owning the way that you feel about things, has been a real sea change for you. And then we also have Stag Spirit taking the lead. And so, you know, it's interesting. I feel like with the Hierophant too, like the Hierophant is about getting in touch with our wisdom. And so maybe this is also an opportunity for you to take the wisdom that you have gleaned, and, you know, use it to take steps forward, and, you know, be a leader, show up in a place of leadership. Okay, next we are going to take a look at the realm of fire, and what has been motivating and bringing inspiration to you, my air friends. And we have, in the recent past, we have the Four of Challenges, the current energy, the Seeker of Challenges, and future energy, the Ten of Spells. I feel like you were kind of, in your recent past, you've got this energy of the Four of Challenges, which this is the energy of like removing ourselves from a situation, and like being in a place of stillness and thinking about it, rather than doing anything about it. It's a state of contemplation, right? And then the Seeker of Challenges, this is the Knight of Swords. And so that's very much about like he wants to cut through to the truth. So I kind of feel like maybe this taking this time, taking like removing yourself from the situation, or being in contemplation from it has kind of made you have some questions about something that was motivating, inspiring, or inspiring you. Or maybe this is talking about the energy of motivation and inspiration itself. It's like you've been in this place where there hasn't been a lot going on. It's just been kind of flat, like not awful, but not great, but not a huge amount of like creative inspiration flowing. And that's kind of leading to some feelings of like judgment. And that is bringing up this sense of like overwhelm, almost like overburdened, like almost putting like too much energy into a thing. So that's really interesting. I wonder if you've been in a place where you've been feeling uninspired and maybe having some judgment about it. And having the judgment about it, of course, is what keeps us from getting into that place of inspiration. You know, like you think of a person who has writer's block and they are trying to get in that space where they are trying to write, and when nothing comes through, that can bring up feelings of like, oh no, I'm gonna get writer's block, and it ends up kind of being a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. So let's see what your guides have to say about that, because definitely we could use some good information from the guides. Let's see what they have to say. Ooh. And we have a couple here came out. We have the Daughter of Feathers and the Three of Cups. Daughter of Feathers is otherwise known as the Page of Wands. I feel like you're being invited to reach out to your friends and maybe talk about this a little bit, about, you know, if you are feeling a little bit stuck in terms of like creative juices, motivation, inspiration, or maybe even it's showing up a bit more as like just like apathy, like you just, yeah, it might be worth talking to a friend and seeing about like kind of allowing ourselves to present this to another person, sort of like Page of Wands style, and being like, here's what's going on for me. Can we just talk it through? Can we, you know, and it's not even necessarily you're relying on this person to give you any answers, simply that sometimes in connecting with the people that we connect with, and with the people that make our heart feel good, that make connection feel fulfilling, and that makes it, you know, makes our cups feel like they're overflowing. Even if it's not specifically talking about a certain thing, just being in that energy with people that we feel that way about can help us get us unstuck. So I also kind of feel like maybe, I mean, for some of you, this could be your guides are inviting you to talk to somebody about this and maybe, you know, directly work on getting it unstuck and, you know, just talking it through with a friend. Or it could really just be like taking your eyes off of that aspect and just going out and having fun and like putting it away and just getting in that place of being present, getting in that place of being in the present moment and having it be joyful, and then allowing that experience to refill your own cup of inspiration. For oracle cards from your guides, we have Inner Truths. Ooh, okay, we have Inner Truths. We also have Right. Yeah, it really does feel like there's some stuff that you're working through here, and writing things out can be really, really helpful, especially if we are feeling stuck. Then sometimes even just starting like just automatic writing style, kind of, not automatic, like flow of consciousness style, where you just start writing and you don't let yourself stop writing for a few minutes, and what comes out comes out. Mine usually, when I try and do that, starts with, I don't know what to write. This is dumb. Why doesn't this ever work? I don't know what I'm doing here. But then eventually, after a couple of minutes, things start to come out and I can get a better understanding of like, what are the feelings that I wasn't really super conscious to that are showing up right now and kind of getting in my way. So yeah, maybe you're being invited to do that. Get in touch with your inner truths by writing them out. And then as a final card, we have the fox spirit, thinking on your feet. And also, more importantly, or in addition to this, not only thinking on your feet, but knowing that you are capable of doing that and responding in the moment. So next, air friends, we are going to take a look at your realm of pentacles, your realm of earth. What you been doing? What you doing now? What you gonna be doing? And what do your guys want to tell you about it? So let's see here. Past, we have the White Heart, which is the Fool. Present, the Six of Boons, which is the Six of Pentacles. And future, the Eight of Spells. Sorry for that little interruption. Where were we? Okay, so with regards to your pentacles, we have you moving out of the space of the Fool energy, with the current energy showing up as the Six of Boons. So it's like you took this leap of faith in what you were doing. Maybe you tried out a new opportunity, something that you'd never done before, and that moved you into a space of like having a lot more available to you than you usually do. So it's like this space of abundance, and not only just having abundance, but also like putting that energy back out into the world. So like one of the ways that this can show up, for example, would be getting a new job or starting a new career, and suddenly maybe you got a pay bump, and so that allowed you to be in a position where you could spend more, or maybe treat a friend who was having a moment of being down on their luck to like lunch or something like that, and like being in a place of being able to give from a place of being in a place of abundance. And that what is coming towards you is the Eight of Spells, which is communication. It's things moving a little bit quicker. That's the energy of Mercury. And so it really does seem as though like there's been a gaining of momentum, I think it feels, is really what it's feeling like. So let's see what your guides have to advise on that. So this Eight of Spells, it could also be that this new leap of faith is bringing a lot of doing. It's bringing a lot of busyness into your life. So it feels like things are moving a bit faster. There's a lot more to get done. So your guides, let's see here. We have the Ace of Feathers. So we have that, stay, it's interesting. I feel like that's harkening back to the that first card that came out, which is the Fool card in this energy. And so it's like your guides are inviting you to retain that spirit of newness, or retain that spirit of like being on the new adventure. Also, we have the Right Order, which that's so interesting because, like I said, this really does feel like a progression in a way. And so like I'm sure this is probably not your experience of it, because everything always looks different in the day-to-day than it does from a removed perspective, but energetically speaking, it does feel like there's a definite like smooth right order to the way the energy has been moving, and that's what's bringing you into this place of things culminating. We also have here the Renewal of Peace. Interesting. And like, it doesn't, like, obviously with regards to energy, there's not so much a sense of peacefulness in the sense of like nothing's going on and it feels very peaceful. It's more like that, like, what is being done is bringing a sense of peace and a sense of satisfaction, and maybe, maybe also it's helping you sleep better. And also, like, just not for nothing, but can we just appreciate for a moment how adorable all the little creatures are on that card, from the little like finch guy to the little like angel baby to the slug. Even the slug, I'm not usually a giant slug fan, but even the slug is stinking adorable in that photo. And like, look at that little squirrely. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, so yes, Renewal of Peace. So this new thing that you're doing, maybe it's restoring a sense of internal balance in a way, and bringing new opportunities, and that peace could also be coming from just a lack of being stuck. Sometimes when we are stuck and we felt stuck for a little while, and then things start to change, new opportunities open up, then when we move into that place, even though it feels maybe a little chaotic or it feels like it's a lot of doing, in a way, it does bring a sense of peace because it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm a little bit more tired now because there's all of these things to be done. But on the other hand, it's very much that energy of like energetic peacefulness, of like satisfaction, of like, I'm not stuck, I'm making movement, it's happening. And as a final oracle card for you, my air friends, we have the Wolf Spirit, turning knowledge into wisdom. And I think that's interesting because, like, I feel like, yeah, the Hierophant card that came up earlier in the emotional realm kind of had a similar message of turning your experiences into wisdom. So I think there's also going to be some lessons that you'll glean from the doingness that you've been doing that are going to be really beneficial to you on a, like, spirit or like core self type of way in the life arc of lessons that we came here to learn. So I hope group 2, my air friends, I hope you found this helpful and inspirational. If you have any comments, I'd totally love to hear them. So please feel free to leave something in the comment box below. As always, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hello, Group 3. If you selected the element of water as your element for today, then this, in fact, is your reading. And we are going to be looking at a few things. So we're going to be looking at air, what you're thinking about, water, what you're feeling, fire, what's inspiring and motivating you, and earth, what you're doing. And we'll get past, present, future on all of those, as well as advice from your guides in the form of both tarot and oracle. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So group 3, our water friends. Let's see if we can get a past, present, and future for what they've been thinking about or how their thoughts have been working more precisely. And so for the past, we have the 9 of Boons. Oh, this came up in one of the other readings, although I don't recall which one it was. That's that energy of like, with regards to the way you're thinking a lot about self-reliance and independence and ways that you can embrace that energy more. And like I said, that's the past. So from that space, that has brought you into a current energy of Ace of Visions, which is a thinking about a new emotional truth. So that's really interesting. I wonder if there were a new emotional opportunity, intimacy, or let me try that again. A new opportunity for emotional intimacy of some sort. So I feel like maybe you've been doing a lot of work and like a lot of like work on yourself and your relationship with yourself, and this has allowed your heart space to be more open. And so energy coming at you in the realm of thinking is the 4 of Challenges. And I really love this card. This is a card of stillness. It's a card of meditation. And it's a card of going within and like finding our own inner apple tree, even when we are in an environment that doesn't feel naturally nurturing to that energy. So that's the energy that's coming at you, is like moving out of this beautiful Ace of Cups energy is really allowing a lot of growth and a lot of balance to come to you. And let's see, take another deck here. See what your guides have to say about that. That one? Okay. And it is the 6 of Arrows, the 6 of Feathers, or 6 of Swords. And this is, you know, it really does feel like you really have been doing a lot of work on yourself, and this is allowing your healing to move into a whole new space and for you to really leave behind some things from your past, like that there has been, maybe there were some unresolved things that have, through this recent process about the way you're thinking and what you're thinking about, has allowed some healing to happen so that you can resolve those things, or some of those things which were previously unresolved, and that allows you to have a bit more freedom as you move forward. For oracle cards in your airspace, 1, we have that you are being invited to embrace confidence. And my goodness, why wouldn't you be? If you've been doing all of this work and it's opened up these new opportunities and these new options for growth to occur and for healing to happen, then of course that, how could you not allow that to translate into being confident in your ability to take care of yourself and in your ability to show up for yourself. We also have here the illumination. Oh, and I love that. I love that, especially within the context of that when we have more of a sense of confidence and we have more of a sense of self-value because our healing has brought us to a new place, then that does allow our unique little light to shine just a little bit brighter. And when we shine brighter, then that brings more light into the universe as a whole. And then we also have butterfly spirit. Transformation is beautiful, and being in this place of allowing it to happen is especially beautiful. So that is, oh, and also, you know, I don't always notice the numbers on the cards, but this one being 11 is an important number to me, and it speaks of not only balance but also a little bit of tension. And of course, whenever there is transformation, there is tension that can show up in that. And sometimes the tension can be like the tension that's inherent to the number 11 in and of itself. It's 2 ones, right? So you've got independence, doubling down on independence and being a leader and being very direct and forward moving and in a singular kind of way. But then the 11 also inherently has the 2. And so the 2 is all about partnerships and all about community and all about working with others and being helpful to others. And so with the 11 in and of itself, there's that tension between those 2 energies to both be independent and to be in partnership. And sometimes that tension is what allows the transformation to flourish, which is why even though transformation is beautiful, it can also be a little bit stressful or a little bit, just a little bit too much sometimes. So now we're going to take a look at your water realm, what you've been thinking about, what the state of the feels are for you, and everything that shows up in that realm. So we see here for water, for our water babies in the past, we have the 8 of Boons, putting in the work, having the discipline to show up and continuing to put in the work. And the current energy being the 6 of Spells, which is when hard work specifically leads to success. So that is pretty amazing. And then the future energy coming is 7 of Visions, being open to new ideas. And so this is all in the emotional realm. So I feel like maybe you've been putting in the work. Maybe this is a relationship to another person specifically, or with yourself, or just in general with the world. But something about your emotions you've been putting in some work on trying to find balance with, and really being a bit more mindful and keeping your eye on the work that you're doing. And what that's bringing about is some success. So this could show up with maybe there being some reparation done to some existing relationships, or maybe you're finding that as you're building new relationships that you're getting a little bit deeper, you're feeling a little bit more seen, you're allowing yourself to be a little bit more vulnerable, and what that's doing is opening up a world of opportunities for you. So let's see what your guides have to advise on that. And we have here the 10 of Arrows, letting a painful cycle come to an end. And I think that, all right, so we're going to see what comes out with the Oracle cards and see if this kind of validates what I'm saying. But the first thing that's coming to mind with this energy coming up is that what can sometimes happen when we've put in the work and we've started to see some success, and that allows our mind to open to new possibilities, what that can do is it can also bring up new vulnerabilities or new fears about taking a step even further beyond that. And so what your guides are saying are like, no, you're done with that painful cycle. And that doesn't mean that you won't have other emotionally painful experiences in the future, but that the amount of healing that you've done, you know that even when difficult things happen or things happen that require work be done, you know that you can do that because you've already done it. And so you'll never have to repeat that same iteration again because you learned the lesson from it. So next time when we repeat a pattern, it will be different and we'll be able to get new lessons from it. But this one has been learned. So for oracle cards, we have the birthing. And I gotta say, I do feel like right off the bat that this is validating what I just said, because of course, when we end a painful cycle, what happens? We get to begin a whole new one. We get to birth something new. And I feel like also, you've had that as Ace of Visions showing up as well. So, there's a lot of new things coming towards you. Okay, so let's see, I got that one and this one. Okay, we also have show your support. Show your support. And I feel like, of course, this can show up in a variety of ways and always take what resonates and leave the rest. But I feel like this is, again, hearkening back to showing support for yourself and recognizing how capable you are of taking care of yourself and getting through things even that are challenging or that feel scary or hard or confusing. And then we also have Snake Spirit, time to heal, time to shed that old skin. Let that old dirty skin go and just leave it behind to compost into the earth and be energy for something else. Let the baggage go and move forward with a brand new fancy skin. So next, let's move on to the realm of fire, which is what's inspiring you, what's motivating you. So let's take a look at that. For our water friends, we have past energy of the wise woman, which is known as the High Priestess in this deck. Current energy of the Council of Animals. Ooh, big stuff going in your inspiration and motivation realm. Council of Animals is also known as Judgment. And then in future energy, Seeker of Boons. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. So, okay, let me take a sip of water before I start ranting about how amazing this is. Because I feel like, okay, so in your recent past, you've had an opportunity and you've been like trying to tune into your intuition. And what you found is that your intuition spoke back. And so there was a call. There was a call that had to be made, an inspiration, a call. An invitation, like a call to action, was being made by your intuition. And what's coming at you is, again, an opportunity for really deep healing, but also in the court cards. So, like, there's this energy of kind of like leveling up, and so I feel like this is really all about, going back to that intuition, going back to the work that you've been doing around tuning into your intuition, and that's, maybe it's allowing you to get in more to a state of flow. I really do feel like this card, like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows that in order to get the medicine that she wants, she knows exactly where in the forest to go. She knows exactly what tools she needs, and she knows exactly how to get them. So there is this mastery, this knowing that has come from coming through this pattern of reaching into your intuition and then coming to a place of answering the subtle calls that our intuition speaks to us. So let's see what your guides have to say and advise about that with regards to the realm of fire for our water friends. And it is the Hermit. Ooh, interesting. So your guides are inviting you to foster foster that motivation. Okay, so it's telling a story here, right? Of like, there's the wise woman, there's this moment of getting in touch with your intuition and your own inner light, so to speak. And that has brought up opportunities to hear what your intuition is speaking to you, which is allowing you to move forward with the precise tools that you need into a place of greater mastery with regards to harnessing the energy of inspiration and motivation. And what your guides are inviting you to do is continue to stoke that inner fire, and to do so mindfully. And, the Hermit energy is to do it for yourself and with yourself. So it's less about bringing things to the masses and letting them stoke your motivation. It's more about tending to that inner fire yourself, right? So let's see here. For oracle cards, we also have assistance. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I feel like the Hermit card, it is asking you to go within with regards to stoking your own light, but it's not saying to isolate yourself. I really feel like somehow reaching out to people around you is going to help you get a better idea of how to continue to harness this. So it's still about tuning into your own internal wisdom, but it doesn't necessarily mean cutting yourself off and isolating yourself from the universe as a whole to come up whole cloth with how this inspiration, this intuition is going to manifest. We also have here the clear endeavor. Ooh, getting more clear sighted, getting more clear vision about where we're going to go and what goals specifically we are moving towards so that we can set our intentions more mindfully. And then finally, we have frog spirit of clearing out the clutter. Interesting. I feel like, okay, so with the clear out the clutter, I kind of wonder the current energy that we're in right now, this energy of judgment and answering the call. I wonder if that call, that very subtle call that your intuition has been giving you is maybe getting a little bit bogged down, or like maybe you're wondering if you're hearing it at all, and you're like questioning yourself, like, was that really my intuition? And like there's lots of videos out there in the world on this, and there's lots of information, but what I have found is that when I am struggling to find discernment between knowing if that really was the voice of my intuition or my higher self or my guides, whatever specific energy I'm trying to tune into, it's very easy for the monkey mind to be like, no, I'm making it up. No, that's not real. Because it is subtle and you can't put your finger on it and you can't measure it, and it's difficult to even express to people. But what I have found is that the times when I have more certainty that I am absolutely getting messages directly from my guides, my higher self, spirit, it feels different. It is not self-hating. It is not self-judging. It is not degrading in any way. So if there is internal talk happening that does feel as though it's very judgy, or it's giving you, you should, rather than being clear and curious and compassionate and encouraging, then chances are that that's just some internal babble that's showing up to interfere with the messages that are trying to come through. So I feel like with this frog spirit of clearing out the clutter, you are being invited to, again, reach into that hermit energy and fostering your own fire from within, and also having a greater discernment over recognizing what is your fire and what is not, what is being imposed on you by others through old programming. And this stuff can go back way far to our childhood. Some of it can even be ancestral. Okay, but I do feel that like clearing out the clutter will allow that inspiration to continue to flow really nicely for you. So now we're going to take a look at Earth, which is what you doing, what you doing, what you been doing, what you doing, what you got me doing. So let's see what your guides have to say, or let's see what the cards have to say about past, present, and future energy for that. So past energy, we have the Tower. So it seems as though in terms of doing, in terms of your Pentacles energy, the way things are actually manifesting in your physical world, it seems as though things have been a bit tough in the recent past. There's been some stuff that's out of your control that's been showing up and impacting your world. And that brings us to the current energy of sunlight. Interesting. So that having that tower fall in the recent past, even though it was difficult and chaotic and maybe painful or sad and brought up some grieving and certainly some readjustment, it's also allowing you to tune in to what's actually going to make you happy, to what actually brings you joy and fulfillment and excitement and curiosity about the world. So I also would like to point out that from this past energy to the current energy, just look at the, why can't I do this? Look at the way those two energies feel, you know, like this is, nope, this is very like a little bit dark and a little bit heavy and a little bit somber. And this is very light and very airy and very joyful. And then for future energy coming at you, we have the Five of Boons. Oh, interesting. I feel like this is one of those like energetic snapbacks that happen sometimes. It's like when we go from a place of having learned a kind of painful lesson, and that opens up energy of opportunities and connecting with what deeply fulfills us, that also will bring up, again, messaging and old programming that tells us, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't actually have what I really want. I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I'm not, it brings up all sorts of self-limiting beliefs. But, and this is why I like this card, is that it is a card of limited beliefs. But if you actually look at the reality of what's happening in this picture here is, we have these two people who are realizing that they don't look like they have what they need. It looks like they're going to have to go without. But because it is just a self-limiting belief, another reality, another take, another perspective of this card, because we are not in this energy, we are viewing this energy from the outside, is that we can clearly see that everything that these folks need is very easily attainable, and that adorable little hut just right there. All they'd have to do is turn their head. All they'd have to do is shift their perspective a few degrees, and suddenly their perceived experience of their reality would be very, very different. So let's see what your guides have to say to advise you on navigating that energy. Whoa. I think that I sometimes kind of call this, it's not a very precise term, but I kind of think of this as like almost like a vulnerability hangover, or like an energy snapback. It's like when we are on the cusp of changing something that feels as though there's a lot of possibility, because there's so much potential and there's so much opportunity. It also pushes on all of our fears, because, well, what if I don't get it? What if it doesn't work out? What if it's, it pushes on all sorts of things that we might not even know were fears, but they are. And so we have here advice from your guides. 10 of Pentacles, recognizing that you are already abundant. This 5 of Pentacles, nah, man, that's just a limiting self-belief. This is actually where you're at. This is actually where you can go and what you can attain, and the mindset that would be helpful, like keeping your eye on what, here's a little exercise. So I feel like your guides are inviting you to, and this is going to be an interesting balance to hold, right? Your guides are inviting you to, with as much detail and clarity, imagine how you want your life to look. Not necessarily in terms of like, I want this room to be this color, although maybe that will be part of it, but more just energetically. Like, if you could have a situation where your home, your family, your work, your professional life, your personal life, your thinking, your feeling, where everything was in a place of abundance and balance, what would that kind of look like for you? So that's part 1 of what your guides are inviting you to do. Part 2 of what your guides are inviting you to do is to detach yourself from specific ways that you will achieve that energetic reality. Because it's really, again, it's a very fine line of knowing what you're going for, but not being so tunnel visioned that you don't keep yourself open to other opportunities that might get you to your goal faster or easier or with more fun. So a few more oracle cards before we send you on your way, water babies. We have surfacing, and I do feel like there's a lot of surfacing happening for you. We've got a lot of intuition. We've got some new stuff, and the Ace of Cups. We've also got some success after putting in some hard work. We've got some independence, some real independence, allowing a lot of new growth and like self-reliance. We've got that Tower card bringing things up. So a lot of stuff is surfacing for you, and that's okay. That is okay, and whatever feelings in the moment it inspires, that is also okay. We also have here the making a decision. And I do feel like, sometimes sometimes it is a decision. It is a decision to embrace that sun energy. Like, it is scary. It will bring up challenges. It will bring up fears. And some people choose not to. Some people choose not to define their goal, their greatest wishes, their biggest dreams, because they don't feel like they should, or that they're capable, or that it could ever be achieved. And so it's almost like easier to make the decision to not even embrace that energy of the sun and what fulfills us. And your guides are letting you know that, like, this is your call. Like, this is an opportunity for you to show up for your life in a different way and get a better, deeper understanding of yourself and what you would like out of your life. But it will require you to make a decision. And of course, once we make a decision, then we also have to take action. So it's not like anything will magically transform without us showing up, right? We have to continue to show up for our life and do the things that need doing. But if we know where we're going and we keep ourselves open to opportunities to get there, then we can make a lot more mindful choices in setting those intentions and deciding what action steps we're going to take. And then as a final oracle card, we have the bee spirit, sweet results await. And whose life doesn't need a little bit more honey? And honey, it seems, is coming your way. So group 3, my water babies, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you found it inspirational. If you have any comments or questions or things that you'd like to tell about your story, please let me know in the comment box below. I'd always love to hear from you. And of course, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hello, group 4. If you selected the element of fire as your element for today, then this, in fact, is your reading. And we're going to be going through and looking at all 4 of the elements within your realm. So we're going to be looking at air, what are you thinking? Water, what are you feeling? Fire, what's inspiring and motivating you? And earth, what are you doing? So we're going to be taking a look at past, present, and future for all of those, as well as getting some advice and messages from your guides. I can feel my voice getting craggy. I can feel my voice getting a little on the raspy side, so I did not bring some tea today. Hopefully none of you will find that vocal fry too terribly annoying. All right, so we are going to see here for our fire friends what is going on past, present, future in their air realm and what they've been thinking and how they've been thinking. So we have here, gosh, this card has come up several times today. That is so interesting. We have the 9 of Boons, being in a place of being self-reliant and being independent and recognizing our own value and kind of showing up for ourselves and having our own back and being our own best advocate. So what's interesting is that in the current energy, we're showing that that's bringing up the 9 of Challenges, which is, it's a card that brings up some anxieties. So I wonder if you've had to be in this place of being self-reliant. Maybe this is stretching on some new muscles for you, or muscles you haven't had to use in a little while. And it's bringing up some feelings of anxiety and feelings like maybe you're not up to the task or you're not capable. And so there's some negative thinking that's kind of showing up as a result of that. So let's see what's coming at you for future energy. We have suspension, which this is the Hanged Man. I like it. So it's moving from this energy of having our anxieties activated to instead deciding to find our own light, putting ourselves in a place where we stop, we wait, we go within, and we're like, what's really going on here? What's my truth in this? What's the truth of the matter? And so I feel here that possibly in this recent arc of you coming into this place of more self-reliance, or maybe it was even before then, but you've really gained some skills in how to deal with that anxiety and that negative thinking and those fears of what's going to happen, and what is the scary thing that's out there in the forest. And the reality is there's nobody coming for that guy. There's no scary monster. So there's our anxieties and there's our fears that feel very real, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there are real things showing up there that are bringing that fear. There's no monster that's about to eat him. So, you know, I feel like sometimes, what was I saying? When we are in that place of having the, oh, that's what I was saying, is that, yeah, you've learned some skills. So even though this anxiety is coming up, you've gotten some skills on how to handle it and how to work on it. Let's see what your guides are saying in terms of how best to manage that, or specific messages that they want to give you here. And we have here the, oh my goodness, the Hanged One. Guys, this is the same card. I mean, 2 decks, but why can't I ever figure this shit out? Oh my god. Ah, no, wrong way. There we go. Whatever. You get my point. These are both the same card. So your guys are saying, like, yeah, no. Find your own light. Those anxieties, those fears that are coming up, like, there's no, I mean, they're real. They're happening. There's no reason to pretend that they're not, or tell you that you shouldn't be feeling them. You feel what you feel. It's fine. But also, after you're done having those feelings of fear, recognize that you have the light already within you to make that forest less of a scary place. You've already got the skills. Like, you can count on yourself. You have the information you need already within you to manage those fears and anxieties that show up in the way that we think about things. So in terms of some cards from our guide, some oracle cards, they are wanting to remind you that you are worthy. You are worthy of this work being done. And if one of your fears or anxieties is that you're not worthy, if it's a self-valuing thing that comes up for you in negative self-talk, then your guides are just wanting you to redirect yourself to the knowledge that you are worthy. You are worthy. Next we have here, ideal course of action. All right, so that is interesting. And just looking at this card, ideal course of action. It's interesting because there's so much imagery on this card. We've got flamingos, we've got a polar bear, we've got a ship. Oh, so you're being invited to chart your course, and you are being invited to take all of this new understanding that you've gained around how best to take care of yourself, and allow that knowledge to guide the way you plan your future. We also have the lizard spirit, dream the world into being. And I really like that in combination, especially with the 2 Hanged Man cards, because the Hanged Man cards, like I said, it's all about putting yourself in a place of suspension for the purpose of waiting and fostering that inner light, so that then once we are in a place to move forward, that light, that fire has been stoked. And so that is how we, yeah, that is dreaming the world into being, essentially. Ooh, just totally whacked my elbow. That's smarted. Next, we're going to take a look at the realm of water, the element of water, which is our emotions, how we've been feeling, and what the state of our feelings is. So here we've got the child of challenges. So feeling as though you needed to learn something, and or feeling like maybe you weren't aware, like there was a truth that you were trying to reach out to, because challenges is swords. So that's where the sword of truth comes in. Y'all just saw me dribble down the front of me. What you don't know is that I do that all the time. Not usually on camera, fortunately, but no dice today. All right, so moving from that child of challenges place of knowing that there's something that you wanted to learn, like in emotion, it's interesting that the challenges is showing, that the challenges card is showing up in the realm of feelings, because I'm wondering if this is almost like maybe you've been trying to intellectualize your feelings, or maybe you've been trying to understand your feelings, and the current energy that's showing up is the Black Shuck, which is the Death card. So this has allowed you to have some transformation, and have a little bit more discernment over what needs to be cut back so we can let the healthy parts flourish, essentially. So it's letting go of things that no longer serve us so that we can continue to thrive and be more healthful. And in the future energy, We have the Seeker of Challenges, ooh, which is, you know, interesting. Leveling up from trying to find your own truth, your own understanding of your emotions, and, you know, leveling up into the Knight status. So there's this progression. So it's like there's a questioning, then there's a transformation, and then there's a new understanding. So there's a real logical kind of progression happening here in the emotional realm. So that can sometimes happen, especially if things are, if we have new people that are coming to us or people that are providing new perspectives on us. I think I said it in every other reading. I'm real sorry. There's been a fly buzzing around here, and I haven't stopped to do anything about it because I just never know what to do about that. And actually, I don't think it's happened lately. So my apologies if you see something buzzing around and it has been making you wonder if you were imagining things. You haven't. So anyways, with regards to the emotions, let's see what your guides have to say about having this transformation, having this like growth arc going on, and having this this progression, this transformative progression of energy. So we have altruism. All right, so embracing this is the Six of Pentacles, embracing that energy of when we've learned something, we want to put it out into the world. So if this has been like you've learned how to get a better understanding of what motivates you or the way you feel about things and the way you connect with things, then one of the things you might be invited to do is share that information with other people, or just let your abundance of understanding show up in the world for what it is. It doesn't even necessarily have to do with being like actively altruistic. It's really more about recognizing that one is in the energy of abundance, and when we're able to do that and show up for that and have gratitude and be present with it, then that kind of becomes obvious in the way that we show up in the world, and that energy subtly impacts everybody that shows up in our space. For oracle cards, we have contact. So, you know, it's interesting. I think I might have interrupted myself. I started a thought earlier when I was talking about that progression and about maybe somebody new coming into your life, or maybe just having a new perspective. And it could also be if you are a person who's on a spiritual journey at this point in time as well, it could be that you've been able to make more contact with your guides. So whether this is a person who's helping you provide these perspectives or this understanding that's allowing you to do this leveling up, or whether it's a situation or a circumstance, or whether it's a direct download that you're getting, it's all contact being made. It's all energies coming and commingling with one another for the purpose of furthering that growth and progression. We also have here being true to your heart. And I really like that this is showing up in the water realm, in the realm of our emotional truths, because I think that sometimes, especially with this death card showing up here, like I feel like sometimes being true to our own heart can be difficult to discern. You know, when I was talking about the death card, like that discernment that shows up in terms of being able to recognize those things that we can let go of, or that aren't really helping us anymore, like old thoughts, old ways of thinking about things or doing things, and moving away from that, having that discernment between what needs to be let go of. I feel like sometimes when we struggle with discernment, we can also sometimes struggle to even tune in to being in touch with answering the call of our heart, and with being true to what we actually want. Sometimes it takes a little bit of deprogramming before we even can really reach into that space. And then as a final card in this realm, we have the whale spirit, trusting the great mystery. And I really like that. And, you know, like the whale spirit, like always speaks to me of just timeless wisdom. Like their lifespan is so much longer than ours, that their perspective on things and their understanding of their own experiences must just be completely foreign. You know, same thing with elephants. Like there are some, and tortoises and turtles, there are animals that just have such a longer lifespan than us, that I think there's an almost inherent wisdom that comes with them. I mean, you even think of trees too. And so like, I feel like when those ancient wisdoms, those things that live in lifetimes, that where our human lives feel probably like a blank by comparison, when something that old is asking us to trust in the great mystery, then we are being invited to understand that we will always be students, that in some level there will always be something that we have to learn and something that we don't know with perfect clarity. And that's kind of reassuring in a way, although it might push on some perfectionism if perfectionism is a thing that comes up for you. But in a way, it's kind of reassuring because that means that the journey is never done and that we'll always get to have new experiences, and not even just new experiences, but new perspectives on old experiences. Okay, so now let's move forward into the realm of fire and see what is showing up in your space of inspiration and motivation. And in the past, we have the Green Mother, which this is the Empress card. So yeah, a lot of nurturing energy being done in your realm of inspiration and motivation. Ooh, and current energy of Seven of Cups, Seven of Visions, like having like your inspiration being opened up, and like having a plethora of different ideas and different possibilities showing up. It's really like opening up your imagination, and exploring different opportunities and exploring, yeah, it's like moving from this place of nurturing into this place of recognizing that now that you've done all this nurturing, there's really a lot of opportunities. There's really a lot of different directions that you can go in, and a lot of different ways that you could encourage things to manifest. Ooh, in the future, we have the Devil card showing up. So I feel like, ooh, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. So I feel like moving from this space of nurturing and having a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different, like just having your imagination wide open in where to go. I feel like there's going to be some temptation coming towards you, and like maybe it's almost like that feeling of like you get this great idea and you spend some time like sort of like brainstorming about how like, ooh, this is so exciting, what could I do with this, what could I do with this? And then there's like, oh, you know, there's a temptation, like I could take shortcuts because it's just so exciting and I just want to skip the, you know, the hard stuff. And so there's this like this temptation to kind of like skip over the hard work of it, in a way. And okay, let's see what your guys have to say about this. This is so curious. Like I can see how it happens, you know, like you get excited about something and you just want to make it happen. And so there's this temptation to cut corners in a way. So let's see what your guys have to say about that. Oh my God. Twice group 4, twice my fire friends, we are getting double cards. So that is so interesting. I'm going to actually pull a couple of clarifiers from a different tarot deck that I haven't used yet, because I'm curious about why your guides want you to lean into that devil energy. Like, I feel like maybe it's got to do with having an awareness. Okay, so first thing, okay, so we're just being, this is interesting. So we have the Son of Wands came out. So that's the Son of, yeah, the Knight of Cups, or Knight of Wands. Then we have the Mother of Wands. So we have the Knight and the Queen. And then we have the Empress showing up again. Okay. I feel like your guides are, oh, this is a big lesson. Okay. So I feel like your guides are saying this thing that motivates you, the reason why you want to cut corners, or the fact that you do want to cut corners or lie to yourself in some way about it, or give in to temptation in some way with regards to it, like that energy is illuminating some stuff for you. It is illuminating why can't I figure this out? The interplay between the masculine and feminine aspects. It's illuminating and giving opportunity for you to bring nurturing to something that is maybe discordant within yourself. And okay, so masculine energy is very direct and forward moving and impactful. Feminine energy is very receptive and flowing and creative. So there's something coming up here that's really pushing on something that is a little out of balance between these two things. Maybe it could be showing up for you, maybe in the sense that like you're leaning so much into that space of doing that, which is, you know, that masculine energy, that you're not, like, you're overdoing it in a way. Or maybe it could be that you're leaning too far in the other direction and you are too much in a space of receptivity and waiting for things to happen without having enough of that masculine energy of like putting things into action that encourage things to happen. So it's like your guides are asking you, by bringing up this Devil card twice, they're really asking you to bring compassionate healing energy, bring it back to that compassionate healing energy that you started with, that first allowed all of this creativity and all of this imagination to open up, and try and bring into balance those two masculine fire, the masculine and the feminine of the very fire wands energy. Your guides are also saying this is an opportunity for you to reach into your faith, or to have faith. This is so interesting, this one. They're also inviting you to seek out beauty. So rather than giving into that energy of the temptation of lying, of not having clarity, of not being in balance, they're instead inviting you to seek the beauty in the balance and in the... Also, I'm feeling like I need to interrupt myself to say that the Devil card showing up isn't a reason for you to judge yourself. They're actually instead inviting you to not judge yourself. They're inviting you to witness yourself. And instead of judging yourself or thinking that there's something bad or wrong with you, instead bring the energy of love and compassion and nurturing to your inner child, and just allowing your inner child to be seen. We also have here the Badger spirit, being fearless and bold. And especially when we're dabbling in this stuff and we're looking at trying to get more of a clear idea of the things that bind us, the things that make us want to lie to ourselves, or want to allow ourselves to be kept in a state of disillusionment in some way. You know, that requires boldness, and that requires a little bit of bravery to look at ourselves in that way. And it also requires bravery to show up for ourselves that way, with our hearts open to ourselves and full of love. So again, your guides are encouraging that. Also, let's see, next here, we're going to look into the realm of doing. So what is going on in your earth realm? So we have here in the past, ooh, the Enchanter's Wheel, Wheel of Fortune. So seems as though things have been like the end of a little bit of chaos. Things have been a little bit up in the air. It's like you just wrapped up some stuff, and then there's this, like, you know, almost like an air of uncertainty in what is coming next. And that is the recent past. And then current energy is the Ace of Spells. So I love that we move directly out of a cycle ending into a new cycle beginning. And not only just a new cycle, but a new cycle that feels very sparkly in a way, that feels like a new opportunity, that feels like something that is going to bring us some inspiration and some motivation into what we do. And then future energy, ooh, 5 of Challenges. So that is the 5 of Wands, and, or I'm sorry, that's the 5 of Swords. And so this is going to bring up, again, I feel like there's some big stuff that you've been working through group 4 here, my fire friends. And so this is gonna maybe bring up, you know, again, I feel like it's kind of coming back to, was it in the first one? Yeah, I feel like worthy. I feel like in some ways it's kind of coming back to that, because it's like the end of a cycle, things may be a little bit up in the air, something new coming into you, and it brings up feelings of like internal conflict, like your thoughts are not in alignment, like you're not really sure what to make of it, you're uncertain, or it feels like maybe some parts of you are on board with wanting to take this new thing and do something with it. Maybe, like, say for example, I'm not saying that this is it, it's going to be different for everybody, of course, but like, say for example, this Ace of Spells is a job opportunity. that it's a job opportunity in your chosen field. But even though it's a job opportunity in your chosen field, for some reason it's bringing up some thoughts that are making you wonder if you should move forward or not. Like, is this the best choice for me? Am I just scared about this, or are there real reasons why I shouldn't take advantage of this opportunity? So let's see. Advice from your guides are, they have the Daughter of Feathers. Oh, okay. So Daughter of Feathers is otherwise known as the Page of Wands. And so you're being invited to allow yourself to learn from this experience and stoke the fires. And so it's like knowing that you're not going to have all of the answers, knowing that this is going to take a little bit of experience before you get some more clarity, but that, you know, you have to show up and actually put in the experience, you know. And like Daughter of Feathers, so she is the earthy part of fire. And so it's moving forward with things and showing up for things in a grounded way, but allowing some of our fire to come through, you know. And so that's what your guides are advising is, you know, one of the better ways to recognize this space is that, one, we are students. We aren't going to know everything. We aren't going to have clarity on everything. But if we show up with our curiosity and we show up and just keep putting in the work, then that will allow us to move towards greater clarity. We also have divinity. So if you are a spiritual person, then, you know, you're being invited to more directly tune in with your guides. So, you know, whether you have decks that you use yourself, or whether you meditate or do some sort of contemplative work, you are being invited to tune in with your intuition. We also have here the Let Love Be Your Beacon. And I think that that's really interesting, because I feel like that harkens back to this Ace of Spells here, because the spells, or the aces, are all like gifts from the universe. And this is one that is going to that allows you to feel that curiosity, that passion, right? And so it's like really like tuning into what makes your heart space feel expansive, what makes you feel excited. And what's also interesting is I'm noticing that like where she's holding this light in front of her, that's like kind of like third chakra. So that's also our sense of will. So it's not only the things that make us feel inspired, but it's also the things that make us feel empowered and make us feel excited to continue to put in the work. And then as a final card, we have the Giraffe Spirit, seeing the big picture. So being able to telescope out a little bit and getting a better idea of the big picture, especially with this, like, you know, it does feel as though like there's lots of opportunities for you to do some checking in with your own inner light, your own inner truth, lots of opportunities to be working through like fears and anxieties and things like that. And sometimes that can feel a little overwhelming. Sometimes it can feel like if some people might experience this sort of thing as like a dark night of the soul kind of energy. And so there is sometimes a feeling of like overwhelm that can come with that, and a feeling of like, is this never going to end? And the Giraffe Spirit is just, again, inviting you to zoom out and realize that this is a chapter in your life. And it is a chapter that began at some point and is existing now. And at some point, this current chapter will end. So whether you're experiencing it as exciting and amazing and positive, or you're experiencing this energy with anxiety and fear, or just all of the feels all over the map, it is definitely a particular time that will end. And so it's kind of nice to keep that in mind, so that we both have, if it's good that we're feeling, so that we have more gratitude for the space that we're in right now, or if it's more challenging energy that we're working through, it's helpful to remember that it's just a particular period in time, so that we've got a little bit of remembering that it will end. So regardless of which perspective you look at, you are being invited to keep in touch with the big picture. So group 4, I hope you found this helpful. I hope we found it inspirational. If you have anything you'd like to share, your thoughts, your feelings, ideas, or your story, then I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Please don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourself, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.